Good evening, friends. It's Miss Patty at Samuel's Public Library, and it's time for our Goodnight Sweetheart story time. And I have with me Baby Bear. Yes, a baby bear is actually a baby panda bear from far away in China. Come a long way. Baby bear likes to eat bamboo. And if you go on the internet, if somebody takes you to our national zoo, you can see some of Baby Bear's relatives, some other pandas, and they are so, so cute, aren't you? So tonight I have a couple of stories for you that I hope you'll enjoy. And at the library, I'm going to put Baby Bear down. At the library, we've been taking the whole month to do themes about Star Wars and flying. So, excuse me, I thought I would do a flying story for you. This is called Calvin Can't Fly, the story of a bookworm birdie by Jennifer Byrne. Calvin is a starling. He was born under the eaves of an old barn with his 3 brothers and 4 sisters and 67,432 cousins. That's a lot of cousins. Starlings have big families. Maybe you have some starlings in your neighborhood. Sometimes I get them confused with crows, but I think crows are bigger. Right from the beginning, Calvin was different. Right from the day of all the little starlings tumbling out of their nest to discover the world. Charlie discovered worms. Clement discovered dirt. Adeline discovered grass. Aubrey discovered water. And Calvin, well, Calvin discovered a book. Now you know why I like Calvin so much. Because books are amazing and wonderful, right? While all of Calvin's cousins chased beetles, bugs, and ants, Calvin was learning to read letters, words, and sentences. Maybe you're learning words too. At night, his cousins dreamed of insect eating and garbage picking. Oh, yuck. Calvin dreamed of adventure stories, legends, and poetry. He even dreamed that someday he'd become a great writer himself. On June 1st, when all the little starlings lined up for flying lessons with their teacher, Mr. Wingstead, Calvin was nowhere to be seen. Where is that bird? Actually, Calvin was in the library. Can't say that I blame him. As the other little starlings were learning to swoop and hover and fly figure eights, Calvin buried his beak in books. And there his mind soared. Calvin read about pirates and cavemen, volcanoes and rainbows, whales and dinosaurs. Calvin especially loved dinosaurs. He learned how the planets circle the sun, what makes the wind blow, and amazing facts like how caterpillars grow up to become butterflies. His books took him to places wings never could, and his heart fluttered with excitement. Calvin's cousins called him Nerdy Birdie, Geeky Beaky, and Bookworm. And when you're a bird, being called a worm is a very bad thing. Calvin ruffled his feathers and mumbled, "Oh, how the wounding words of scorn do sting." Then he sadly waddled back to the library, the only place he was really happy. And so we spent all summer reading, learning, and absorbing everything his little starling mind could. Until the first leaf turned orange and fell to the ground. The winds of fall sent a chill through the old barn. Summer's nests blew to the floorboards. It was time to head south. His cousins warned, "Calvin, you better learn to fly. In a couple days, we got to be out of here." Calvin said, "Ah, yes, migration. I've read about that." His sister asked Calvin, "Can you fly?" Calvin had to admit he couldn't. All the other starlings took off in a giant formation, but Calvin could only stand and watch. A big, lonely tear rolled down his cheek. Aw, poor Calvin. Calvin turned and trudged back toward the old barn. He was so upset he didn't even notice his brothers and sisters and cousins coming back to get him. All of a sudden, they were tying up Calvin's middle with string and scraps of cloth they had found in the garbage. They grasped the other ends with their beaks and off they flew, with Calvin somewhat embarrassed, safely in tow. For days and days they flew. Calvin recognized the rivers, mountains, and towns he'd read about all summer. Excitedly, he pointed them out to his brothers, sisters, and cousins, but the other little starlings just flapped their wings and headed south. Soon there came a day when the winds blew especially hard. Trees bent sideways, leaves scattered wildly. Flying became harder and harder. The air had an odd smell to it, the smell of danger. Calvin, remembering back to his favorite weather book, warned the rest of his family. "A hurricane! A hurricane is coming!" All his brothers and sisters and cousins asked, "What's a hurricane?" Yikes, look at that dark cloud. Calvin explained as quickly as his little beak could. "We need to get out of the path of a violent tropical weather system which is storming up the coast at a tremendous speed and will not diminish until it encounters large stretches of landmass. Everybody, make haste into that cave." They had no idea what Calvin was saying, but they had to admit it sounded real. So the flock made a loop-de-loop left, a dipsy-doodle right, and dove into the cave. They did everything Calvin told them to. To their amazement, a great storm did blow across the land. It thundered over the mountains. It roared through the villages. It smashed and crashed, rumpled and raged, just as Calvin had predicted. Wow. The whole big starling family gathered together, watching in fear and awe. The storm finally ended, the sun came out in the sky, and the starlings came out of their cave. They were safe and sound, all because of Calvin. Yay, Calvin! All his reading paid off, didn't it? They celebrated with great starling party in honor of Calvin. They ate big juicy worms and yummy crunchy beetles. Yuck. They danced and sang songs about how Calvin had saved their lives. They toasted Calvin with acorn caps filled with fresh, clear mountain water. Calvin was so happy and felt so good deep down inside that he jumped and hopped and danced and flapped his wings and flapped his wings and flapped his wings. All the other starlings looked at him in amazement. Calvin, you can fly, they exclaimed, and Calvin, the happiest starling in the whole wide world, chirped, "Why, yes, I do believe I can." Flap, 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 flap. There he goes. Yay, Calvin. And they all flew south with big, wide smiles on their faces, especially Calvin. He's so happy. Yay. Yay for Calvin. Well, I have another story to tell you. And this one is about stars. So maybe you're getting all cozy. Maybe you're in your jammies like me. And maybe getting a little sleepy. So as you cozy up with your little bear or Dolly or somebody special, sometimes when you look outside and see the stars twinkling bright at night, I know I like to watch the stars. And some of them are brighter than others, and some of them aren't stars. Some of them are planets, right? So stargazing is a very fun thing to do before bed. Stars by Mary Lynn Ray. A star is how you know it's almost night. As soon as you see one, there's another, and then another. And the dark that comes doesn't feel quite so dark. What if you could have a star? They shine like little silver eggs. You could gather in a basket. Except, you know you can't, not really. But you can draw a star on shiny paper and cut around it. Then you can put it in your pocket. Having a star in your pocket is like having your best rock in your pocket, but different. Because a star is different from a rock. When you look at the pictures, they've put stars all around. Pin a star on your shirt and you can be sheriff. Put a star on a stick and you've made a wand. If you hold a wand the right way, you might see a wish come true. Not always, only sometimes. You never know about a wish. You can give a star to a friend, but never give away the one you keep in your pocket. You need to know it's there. Some days you feel shiny as a star. If you've done something important, people might call you a star. But some days you don't feel very shiny, do we? Those days it's good to reach for the one in your pocket. If you ever lose your star, you can draw another, or you can find one. There are places. Moss, where you might see fairies, is made of green stars. If you look at moss really close, you'll see they're tiny little star flowers. And so soft. Doesn't that look like a fun little place to gather? A different kind of tree house, right? White stars in June grass. Yellow stars on pumpkin vines. White stars in June grass become strawberries in July. And yellow stars on pumpkin vines become October pumpkins. Maybe you will plant strawberries or pumpkin seeds in your garden. Snowflakes are like stars, all different shapes. They are all special. Blow a ball of dandelion and you blow 1,000 stars into the sky. A button can have a star on it. And if you always brush your teeth, someone might give you a red or green or blue or gold or silver star. There might be a star on the calendar to mark a special day. Maybe your birthday. Maybe your birthday's coming soon. But stars that come with night, for those you have to wait for night. You need some dark to see them. Ah, are they getting ready for bed? It might help to have on pajamas. Then you look up. Almost always you will find one and another and another and another and another. And if sometimes you can't see them, they're still there. And these look like stars, but what are they called? Fireworks. Spectacular fireworks. And soon in July, we will see them, won't we? And every night, everywhere, when it gets really dark, you see more and more stars. So many, you can't possibly count them all. Isn't that right? Stars. So I hope you have a lovely evening and so nice to be with you and read stories and sleep tight and have a wonderful day tomorrow and come in and see us soon. Good evening. Bye-bye.